Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Farzy Show. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is presented by Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. I was like a lot of you guys last night sitting in front of the TV. I was watching the Sixers, and then I started seeing everything about Damar Hamlin on Monday Night Football. So I flipped over to Monday Night Football and saw what all of you guys saw. If you're listening to this show right now and you somehow don't know what happened, Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin made a hit last night on T. Higgins, got up from making the hit, and then collapsed on the football field. Needed medical attention immediately. Paramedics came out. They did CPR on the field. They apparently administered an IV, got him in the ambulance, and took him off to the hospital. I believe they had to wait a little bit for his mom, who was at the game. She got in the ambulance with him, and they went to the hospital. The NFL, an hour later, announced that the game would be suspended indefinitely. The game had been suspended. There was some talk about players actually resuming the game, which we'll get to in a second, but I want to make sure the facts are out there. And he is listed in critical condition as of right now. He did regain his pulse. He was having trouble breathing on his own, however, so they have him basically sedated as of right now. The Bills put this out. This is the latest announcement from the Buffalo Bills. This came out at 1:48 in the morning, Tuesday morning, saying Damar Hamlin suffered cardiac arrest following a hit in their game against the Bengals. His heartbeat was restored on the field, and he was transferred to, I believe that's University of Cincinnati Medical Center, for further testing and treatment. He is currently sedated and listed in critical condition. Again, that came out just a little before 2 o'clock in the morning. I know some people might not have had that. ESPN, and I think there's a lot to this, did put a timeline together, and excuse the photo quality of this for the people watching. For the people on the podcast, this is a terrible photo I took of my TV. But the timeline they put together and showed on SVP last night, 8:55, the injury occurred. 9:18, the game was temporarily suspended. So in that window from 8:55 to 9:18, players are on the field taking knees. Players are crying as they're administering CPR to their teammate or opponent that night. 9:25, the ambulance leaves the stadium. 10:01, the game officially postponed. So 8:55 is when the hit happened. 10:01 is when the game was officially postponed. They knew at 9:18 players had been crying. They knew players were distraught. They knew players didn't want to play in this game. And at 10:01, they suspend. And they didn't suspend. So the excuse of what took so long wasn't figuring out logistics, okay? And that's what I thought they were going to do. We didn't want to make one announcement. We only wanted to make one announcement. We didn't want to say, game's not happening. We're done for the night. And by the way, we'll let you know the rest of the details a little bit later. No. The NFL decided to take that much time to decide, what are we going to do? Now, in fairness, I will say this. If somehow, some way, Damar Hamlin on the way to the hospital was going to come to, all vitals were back, and he was good to go, and he just needed to be at the hospital for monitoring, then maybe the players would want to play. Maybe. I would say maybe a 1% chance that's the case. But I'll just tell you, when I saw Stephon Diggs trying to pump up his teammates as if to play again, I was shocked. When I heard Joe Buck say on the broadcast, we have been told, quote unquote, the players will have 5 minutes after the ambulance left the stadium, 5 minutes to warm up and get ready to resume play, I was shocked. I thought there's no way they could play after this. I was just watching Josh Allen, face palming in shock and sadness. I'm watching players from both sides crying. I'm watching both of them just shocked, watching what's going on the football field to their teammate, to their brother, to their friend. And you want them to start playing football again? I don't think there's ever been an instance where it was more apparent to everyone in that stadium, including fans, that there was something going on that was a lot bigger than football. A man's life was on the line. And the NFL, the great bastion of safety they've tried to turn themselves into, sat and appeared to be twiddling their look, I haven't been a part of, but I've been privy to pretty big decisions going on in the sports world of postponing games, whether it was a Winter Classic, whether it was the Joe Webb game that was played on a Tuesday that was supposed to be a Sunday night game. It was still done by the Sunday night crew, including myself. I remember that going down. Yeah, it takes you time to scramble. Yeah, it takes you time to figure out what you're going to do next. But those are all introduced with a plan. And what takes so long is the logistics to make the announcement. The NFL knew once players walked off the field, this game shouldn't have happened. You had equipment guys taking equipment off the sidelines because they knew things were done, yet the NFL still hadn't made an announcement. You have Adam Schefter sitting there on national television with Susie Colbert and Booger McFarland with two cell phones, one stacked on top of the other, and nobody from the league and all the stuff that they tweet Adam Schefter or text Adam Schefter and tell him, hey, this is what we're doing. Nobody was keeping the fans up to speed on what was going on. And it took them that. So that just lets you know that if they did have something to give, they would have given it. But they just sat there and twiddled their thumbs. While we're just trying to figure out what the hell is going to happen to this guy. And we're sitting there watching TV. We're listening. We're waiting. We're watching Twitter. People are saying things on Twitter. People are speculating. And it's like, NFL, you could do all of us a favor and just let us know that football is not the most important thing right now. Figure out the logistics later, which they eventually did anyway, and just call this game. Because there's no way those guys are stepping foot back on the football field. And we're all sitting there. We're all waiting, twiddling their thumbs. They say on the broadcast that they don't have any information. You got Lisa Salters, teary-eyed. You got Joe Buck's voice cracking. You're watching SVP Scott Van Pelt afterwards with a shaky voice as well. Ryan Clark, who spoke amazingly last night about the importance of this game to these players' lives and how a moment like this puts everything in perspective. It was a crazy thing to watch unfold in front of your eyes. But the sticking point, I know for me and for a lot of other people, one, I am a man of faith. I was saying my prayers last night. Was saying them again this morning for Damar Hamlin and speedy recovery, and that one day he could get back to doing what he loves to do without any hesitance, without any hesitation. But I know for a lot of people, you're just looking at the NFL thinking, what the hell are you doing? And this is the game that we love. And that was a horrible moment. Absolutely horrible moment for the NFL. And I only say that in direction to the NFL because that's where a lot of the anger was last night. What are you going to do in this situation? It literally looks like you're sitting there, twiddling your thumbs, hoping beyond hope that you can get this game back underway. It seemed like the game resuming was the priority and not people's concern for a man's life. And I'll flat out tell you, when I was watching that last night, that was the scariest moment I have ever had while watching sports. I've seen guys take hits to the head. You guys have seen the same things. I have wondered at any time, and this happened most recently, I'm not going to mention any other names because nothing's comparable, but I'm just saying every time I've seen somebody's neck contorted in a way that does not look right, I worry about whether or not that guy's going to walk again. That's what goes through my mind. When we have seen other injuries where guys are laying there on the field, my first thought is, I wonder if dear God, let that guy walk again. But I've never watched a football game and go, dear God, let that guy live. I've never been concerned about a player's life and whether or not it was going to end right there in the moment. And that's what was going through my mind last night while I was watching all that unfold. And then when you saw the update this morning from the Bills, you saw that he at least had gotten to the hospital. He did get his heartbeat back. They did sedate him to put a breathing tube in. There was a little bit of, okay, all right, step in the right direction. But I've never watched the game thinking, oh my God, is the worst scenario actually going to play out here? And for the NFL to handle that situation, I don't think they could have done a more horrible job of the way they handled it last night. And I give a lot of credit. I give so much credit to Booger McFarland last night, who was the first to say, this game's got to, no, this game can't happen. And you knew a lot of, you like to think that all these people are rational people, good people, that know what the big objective is here, that the player's life is the most important thing, and not whether or not they're going to resume the game. And Susie Colbert's sitting there thinking the same thing. Adam Schefter's sitting there that's the thing. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, they're all sitting there. Lisa Salt, everybody involved in that broadcast thinking the same thing. This can't happen. But on the other side of that coin is ESPN and the money that goes between the ESPN and the NFL. Being rights holders to broadcast games, nobody wants to piss the big guy off, and the big guy is the NFL. Nobody wants to piss them off. And for Booger McFarland to just step up and be the first to say, this shouldn't happen. We shouldn't be playing this game. And then I think it was another 20 minutes before the NFL actually. But Booger McFarland knew it and said it before the NFL even knew. And to an extent, if the NFL came out, once again, if the NFL came out and said, we understood this took a while, we have to hammer out the logistics, this game will be completed on Tuesday, fine. But the fact that it felt like they just succumbed to the pressure without a plan when they should have known from the get-go. The minute like a 20-year-old equipment manager walked out onto the football field to take equipment off the field because they knew they were going home, they should have let the audience know, guys, it's over. No, don't worry. We're doing the right thing. Everyone stop attacking us. Let's concentrate on Damar Hamlin. But they didn't. They chose not to do that. And it seems like there might be some damage control going out here because according to NFL reporter Ari Marinov, NFL Executive Vice President Troy Vincent says the NFL never informed the teams they had 5 minutes to warm up to resume play. They never crossed their mind. It never crossed their minds, and he doesn't know where that came from. As I referenced earlier, Joe Buck had said they have 5 minutes to warm up and get back out there on the football field to play. Apparently, according to Troy Vincent, that was never the case. They never said you have 5 minutes to play. I'm going to go ahead and assume that if Joe Buck is putting that, and say what you will about Joe Buck, you could not like him as an announcer, you could think he hates Philly, whatever. The guy's a pro. He's not just throwing something against the wall. He's getting something from a good source, most likely his producer, and saying what he is told. Maybe he's even getting a text message from the league office. Maybe he's getting a text message. I don't know. Maybe it's Lisa Salters who's down there on the sidelines while all this is going on. She was right there while you had Sean McDermott and Zach Taylor on the phone with the league office, and Adam Schefter was trying to walk you through that during the decision last night of whether or not they were going to play. But, man, the second they walked off, I think that was it. I remember being in Texas, in Houston, when Gary Kubiak collapsed. I believe he was just walking off the field at halftime. And I remember players being shaken up, but it wasn't a situation of whether or not they were going to play. And he was taken to the hospital. I don't want to speculate. I forget what it was exactly, but he had a health issue. But players watching that go down, knowing that it could happen to them. And look, I don't want to go into WebMD stuff, and I don't want to regurgitate exactly what I heard from a medical doctor, because obviously I'm not one, and I have no idea how to interpret what they said. But what I got out of it for this to happen, because it didn't look like a vicious hit. Like he made the tackle against T. Higgins. They went to the ground. It was a shot right to his chest. I thought, did he just get the wind knocked out of him? Like, what happened? And the way I heard it explained was basically this hit was delivered. Contact was delivered to Hamlin in a spot where it shouldn't be at the exact precise time it shouldn't have been. I think it was perfect. The reason you don't see this more and more is because basically it was the perfect scenario for this to happen. I hope we get more of an explanation so we understand this, and also, I don't know, maybe protect against this in the future so it doesn't happen again. I'm hoping to get more information on that, as I know we all are. As I said, the last update came at 1:48 in the morning, and that came from the Buffalo Bills. One thing that I think is remarkable, and this is a beauty of social media, Damar Hamlin has a charity, and this is his charity. It's out there on GoFundMe. You guys can check this out. The Chasing M's Foundation Community Toy Drive. Now, you check this out. Their goal was to raise $2,500. All right, $2,500. In the span of a couple hours, it jumped to like 600,000. And I wake up this morning and I check it out. $3,181,800. They asked for $2,500. And last night, as a sign of support, NFL fans, people around the world have gotten that up to over $3 million in charitable donations for the toy drive. My major takeaways from all this is I hope Hamlin's all right. I hope he makes full recovery. If he wants to play the game again, I would love to see him play the game again. And I know fans would love to see it as well, to see him step back out there on the football field. But I know that's the furthest thing from me and his family's mind right now, most likely. But that would mean a full recovery. It's the only reason I put it like that. That would mean a full recovery for him. And like everybody else, I'm just hoping that he makes it through it. And then right after that is, what the hell was the NFL doing for over an hour? Because the way they look in all of this is they just wanted to make sure they got their sponsors in. They just wanted to make sure they didn't have to mess with their schedule. You can figure it out. You figured out things in the past for just bottom line, unforeseen things happening. Unforeseen happenstance. I don't know. And you figured it out. This was a situation where you should have figured it out a lot sooner. And it led a lot of people just to sit there and go, what the hell are you doing? I mean, the NFL didn't exactly have a good go of it some years ago with concussion protocol. They haven't had a good go of it this year with concussion protocol. Injuries in Miami will let you know that. But this was an awful, awful moment for the NFL, an embarrassing moment for the NFL last night for the way they handled this whole situation. But above all, most importantly, if you're a person of prayer, send your prayers to Damar Hamlin. If you're not, just send your good vibes, man, because I know that family and he will certainly need them. That was my takeaway from last night and watching everything unfold. There's no easy transition here. But I do want to, one last thing. I have the timeline up here again. I do give ESPN a great deal of credit for how their broadcasters handled this situation, all of them. And I give them a great deal of credit for always referencing the time and putting the timeline together. Because as I said, the big guy, the NFL, the one that's doling out checks for every league here, and you're doling out big checks too as well, that you always want to stay on good terms with. You can't really just jump to what Booger McFarland said and say that the game shouldn't be played. They need to stop playing. But what the what the ESPN continuously did throughout the entire hour plus was note the time. And I thought that was a little nudge to the NFL. You're taking way too long. If you cut back to Joe Buck during the broadcast, while everyone was waiting to see what was happening, Joe Buck said, over 20 minutes ago, over 25 minutes ago, over 30 minutes ago, nearly 50 minutes since the hit took place on the field. Cut back to the studio. They put up the timeline. That was I think a subtle dig, not so subtle dig at the NFL for taking so damn long to come up with a decision. But definitely the scariest moment I've ever had watching sports. We do forget, and one of the things that I hate about doing a show is that I consider myself to be a nice person. And when you do this, you got to be brutally honest a lot of times. And in doing so, you forget that these people are people. And they become characters. And I know even people that speak into a microphone to a lot of you guys aren't real people, because they're just, they play this character in your life where they talk about sports, or they talk about the news, or they talk about the weather, or they're an actor or whatever. And they're not real. They're just this they play this role in your life, and that's the box you have them in, and that's fine. But a lot of times that makes you forget that they are a person. They have feelings. They might just be like you and me, that type of thing, and they have family. And when I saw the tweet last night from I believe it was a Bengals reporter in Cincinnati that was following everything, they said that they were waiting for his mom, who was at the stadium, to be there, or to go to the ambulance, and that's where it was. That's where it went to the next level, because you think about your own mom and how she might handle a situation like that, God forbid. But it was just awful last night, absolutely awful. There's nothing good for it. Damar Hamlin's a Pitt guy and knows Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders did ask people to stop sharing the video. So if you see the video, don't hit retweet on it later today. Don't hit retweet on it now. Don't copy the tweet and send it out again. So Miles Sanders is just asking to stop sending that video out there. Again, there's no easy transition to this. My thoughts and my prayers are with Damar Hamlin and his family and him, and make sure that he does pull through, obviously. The Eagles lost a football game over the weekend. The Flyers won their third straight hockey game last night, and the 76ers won a basketball game last night as well. So those are all nice things. Those last two things were nice. The Eagles losing, not so nice. The Eagles having to play their starters in week 18 to lock up the number one seed in the NFC. That's not that nice, especially after you started out a season 13-1. I don't know what's happened with Jeff McLean, and I really like Jeff McLean. I think he's a great guy. I think he does a great job covering the team. But I will say, over the last couple of years, I felt like Jeff has really just gotten to the point in his question. Not a lot of setup, not a lot of nothing like that. Not a lot of pleasantries. Just boom with the questions. It's just right in your face with the question. And one of the things that he asked yesterday of Nick Sirianni was a question that I actually had, which was if he was close, what kept him out of playing? And I think what Jeff goes for in the question is, well, we thought we could beat the Saints without our MVP quarterback. We thought we could beat them with Gardner Minshew. All right, I can understand why you would look at how Gardner Minshew played against the Dallas Cowboys and then say, all right, well, if you can do that against the Cowboys on the road, you can do this against the Saints at home. All right. So, as I said yesterday, maybe it was a little arrogance of the Eagles. And when I mentioned the comeuppance word, Jeff McLean is who I saw that comeuppance word from on social media 2 days ago. So Jeff's asking the question to Nick Sirianni, basically saying, if he's close, why didn't he play? And did he get any first-team reps because Gardner Minshew said he took them all? Here's a little exchange with Nick Sirianni and Jeff McLean yesterday.
He said he took all of them last week.
Yeah, I guess we played that pretty right then for Gardner to get all the reps since he's the one who played. So he was close. I based that off of what the doctors and what Jalen's telling me is essentially really just it. I mean, I'm listening to all the people that give me the information on those particular things, and that's where we were saying that, obviously he got to be able to go out there and practice an individual, which is obviously closer than what he was the week before. Doing individual, throwing the balls. But yeah, he didn't get reps last week at practice.
And then when you said you're right in having Gardner take all the practice reps, what do you mean by that? And is that typically what you want because you don't want to have guys splitting reps?
Well, yeah, Gardner took the reps, and I guess we were right by that by saying that Jalen wasn't quite ready to play yet.
So that's Nick Sirianni. Yeah, I was right. We were all right. For the people on the podcast, I am patting myself on the back as if to do a Nick Sirianni impression of that answer. I file that under what's he going to say? What's Nick Sirianni going to say? Well, Well, yeah, we just thought we could beat the Saints with Gardner Minshew, and yeah, we should have, and we botched it. Our game plan was terrible going into the game. The play calling was terrible during the game. The execution of our bad play calling was also terrible. But yeah, we thought we could win without Jalen Hurts. Instead of locking it up now and giving everybody off next week, we have decided to, let's make it a little bit more interesting. Let's take this season down to the wire, where you start out once again 13-1. And week 18 actually matters. There could be 2 14-win teams in the NFL this year. The Eagles are one of them. The other is that Patrick Mahomes character with the Kansas City Chiefs. It's unfortunate this is where the Eagles are right now, but I do believe that the Eagles got a little cocky. I think that they said, why rush Jalen Hurts back? Here's why I think Jalen Hurts was healthy enough to play. And again, I did not WebMD this. I listened to no medical experts, as Nick Sirianni just so eloquently pointed out that he did before this game. But I don't believe you. I believe the Eagles thought they could win with Gardner Minshew, and they said, well, we don't need Jalen Hurts, and we don't really care about the time off because he could just ramp up plays, no problem. That's not a problem whatsoever. He's good to go. I wish that was the case, that he was healthy and played, but the Eagles thought no. But here's why I think he was healthy enough to play. One, he was 10 for 11 against the Bears with the injury, threw a 58-yard bomb to A.J. Brown in that game after the injury. And now we're 3 weeks removed from it. I think he could have played. Now my goal is that the Eagles actually go out there on Sunday and beat the brakes off the Giants, which, by the way, we now know that game is at 4:25 on Sunday against the Giants at home. And I hope that they go out there in the first half and they put up 48 points and Jalen Hurts can take a break the rest of the game. Right, maybe 28 points. They can take a break for the rest of the game. That's what I hope happens. I just have my doubts because things just haven't been going the Eagles' way. And you know what? If you really want to be optimistic about it, then maybe this is that humbling experience the Eagles needed. I prefer to think that a 40-point performance against the Dallas Cowboys, the 40 burger I've heard so much about and watched unfold, of course, I would hope that would be the humbling experience. But apparently there's a deeper, a more bottom, a lower rock bottom for this Eagles season. And let's hope that Saints game was the rock bottom for the Eagles. That's what I'm going to hope for. Jalen Hurts is playing Sunday. The medical diagnosis is, like it or not, Jalen Hurts is playing on Sunday. One other thing from that game, by the way, one other thing that jumped out to me, I didn't see until yesterday. I didn't see what Jordan Mailata had said. I only read it. And again, it was from Jeff McClain saying that Jordan Mailata thought that the penalty that negated the Kenny Gainwell touchdown, the penalty there, he thought it was on him, but they called the wrong number. So that was all the information I had. Then yesterday, I went back and I watched some more post-game stuff. And Jordan Mailata is at his locker, cursing up a storm, by the way. And Jordan Mailata says that the official, he literally asked the official, did you mean me? Did you mean to call that number? Did you mean to call that on 68 and not 69? Nice. Did you mean to call that on me? And the official was like, no, you can't do that. The way you did that, you can't do it. And he's like, the way I can't do it or the way Landon Dickerson can't do it? And he's like, the way Landon Dickerson, you can't do it like that. So the referees did not make the wrong call with the wrong number. They made the wrong call with the wrong call and the wrong guy at the wrong time. So in other words, the officials were wrong in everything. And I even said it during the show yesterday. I look at it, Jordan. I say, I know a lot of people are saying Jordan Mailata was supposed to get the penalty on him, but that wasn't the case. Because I looked at Jordan Mailata and I go, you really got to be looking to make a call, looking to make a holding call on that play, to make that call on that play with what Jordan Mailata did. With the Landon Dickerson thing, I just think the ref got a horrible angle on it, and it looked like he tackled him as opposed to pancaked him. That's what I think happened Not that that's an excuse, but that's what I just think that's an explanation of what happened. But for Jordan Mailata to actually go over to the official and go, do you mean me? And then for the official to go over to Landon Dickerson and actually look like he was explaining to Landon Dickerson what you can't do when he did everything great. And he took it away from him. And he took a touchdown off the board. I wasn't as pissed at the referees after the game as I am at right now. And when I was yesterday, listen to Jordan Mailata explain what the hell happened on that play. Because I thought Jordan Mailata didn't hold there. That's a little, usually they allow like this and a release. But if this happens where they're just pulling at the jersey or the shoulder pads, then they'll call it. But that's where you get away with there's holding on every play. Then that's an example of holding on every play if that's what Jordan Mailata was doing, which he wasn't. But Landon Dickerson, just to call the penalty on him and think that was the right call is atrocious. And now I'm even more pissed that the officiating crew took that touchdown off the board for really what was great offensive line play from top to bottom. And they opened up the biggest hole Kenny Gainwell's ever seen in his life. And they couldn't keep the touchdown on the board because the officials suck. Anyway, not why they lost. They lost because they played terribly. But still, it didn't help. And I do still say, and some people were telling me yesterday after the show, they talked about play calling and all that stuff. Yeah, play calling was bad. But what scared me the most about that game is that they looked at Gardner Minshew and they said, oh, yeah, you'll play. You'll play as their MVP quarterback. You'll play just as good as him. We can do what we want with you, and you'll be fine. Defense did their job. I know they had the 15-play drive early. Defense did their job in that game because the bottom line was keep points off the board. The defense only allowing 13 points in that game is a damn miracle, considering how bad that game started. But for the rest of that game, the offense, the game plan, everything was atrocious. Somebody hit me up yesterday and said, oh, they lost the game. Yeah, because of coaching. Yeah, they lost because of coaching. I read it to be sarcastic. I'm 99% sure it was. Yeah, they lost because of coaching, because I said the biggest reason they lost the game was because of coaching. If you want to go bird's eye view and not really get down and dig a little bit here, yeah, they lost because they didn't have Jalen Hurts. Thanks. But you knew at kickoff you weren't going to have Jalen Hurts. The Eagles apparently knew because Nick Sirianni wants to pat himself on the back by having Gardner Minshew take all the – oh, I guess we called that right. Gardner Minshew having all the – like rarely do I hear a cocky Nick Sirianni. We've had a little cocky Sirianni lately with the way he was answering Mike Sealski's question last week about how if you get a bowl of soup served to you and Jalen Hurts gets a bowl of soup served to you at the same time, he'll have the soup, he'll finish the soup before you. And now this week we get another version of cocky Sirianni. And that is the version of, I guess we called that pretty right. Where we had Gardner Minshew take all the reps because Jalen Hurts wasn't going to play. Didn't play. Yeah, okay, congratulations. So you knew Gardner Minshew was going to be your starting quarterback all week, and that was your game plan? For the people on the podcast, I just stood up, sort of, in my chair. That's a first on the Farzy show. Then, to me, here, one more time. Just one more time.
Said he took all of them last week.
Yeah, I guess we played that pretty right then for Gardner to get all the reps since he's the one who played. So
again, you knew he was your starting quarterback all week, and that was your game plan. Come on! That's a moment where a guy's like feeling cocky, feeling confident. I'm really going to hammer this guy. Oh, man, he's asking the question. He thinks he's a smart guy, but I'm going to get him. And then you answer it, and then you look worse. Credit to Jeff McClain for asking a good, fair question, I thought. So you knew he was going to be your guy? It wasn't like Saturday afternoon, you're thinking, well, all right, let's sit Jalen Hurts and go with Gardner Minshew. It was like you knew all week that Gardner Minshew was going to be your guy. And you put the ball in his hands as much as possible. Miles Sanders had 2 runs in the first half. Great idea. Great idea. All right. Let's talk about something fun, shall we? The Philadelphia Flyers, ladies and gentlemen. You're not going to believe me when I tell you this, and they're on the West Coast right now. The Philadelphia Flyers have won 3 games in a row. They won 2 games. They won one more, which is called a winning streak. It has happened before. And they won 3 in a row. Last night they won 4-1 over the Anaheim Ducks. Samuel Urson in the club with 28 saves. Travis Konecny had a goal and an assist for the Flyers. So the Flyers don't look now are red hot. 14, 17, and 7 on the season. They got the Coyotes. They returned from their West Coast road trip, so I guess the Disney on Ice is gone. In case I didn't tell you, Lil Toots did have a wonderful time at Disney on Ice. She did have a wonderful time. Coyotes, 7 o'clock Thursday night in South Philadelphia after the Flyers won 3 in a row on the West Coast. So that's nice. Scoring 4 goals in all of them. That's happy. All right, now let's get to the 76ers. Joel Embiid, I really hope I don't hear the words MVP out of his mouth this year. I really hope that's not the case. Last I saw, he was like 7th in the odds to win the MVP award. But last night goes out there with another 40-plus point performance, 15 of 24 from the field, 10 of 10 from the free throw line, 2 of 3 from beyond the arc, 11 rebounds in the game last night. With 5 assists. Not too shabby for Joel Embiid. James Harden, 27 points, 8 of 19 shooting, 3 of 9 from beyond the arc. Had a clutch 3 in the fourth quarter to be able to nullify a run there by the Pelicans, who were closing out the third quarter on, I believe it was an 11-2 run. And James Harden helped get things going in the early goings to the fourth quarter. So that was great. Sixers closed that game out well, winning the fourth quarter by 6 points. High-scoring game, obviously, when you look at a 120-111 win for the Sixers. And also, you got some bench help. Tyrese Maxey did not start for the Sixers last night. He came off the bench again. He had 12 points in his efforts, hit a clutch 3 down the stretch as well for the Sixers. He looks to be playing himself back into game shape. George Niang also had 15 points off the bench, so you really got a lot of help in this game. What I have not seen so much is that continued effort, continued production, I should say, from Tobias Harris. Look, you got it in other areas last night. But Teuby, just 5 points in last night's game. He was 2 of 5 from the floor and just made 1 trip to the free throw line. He was 1 of 2 last night. Watching that game last night and flipping back and forth from Monday Night Football when it got underway, because I believe you were in the third quarter when the Monday Night Football game started. You were like late in the third quarter there, maybe, and flipping back and forth and following it. Joel Embiid's game, when you talk about a true 7-footer, like when I think about a point guard, I think about the word graceful. But Joel Embiid's game this year just seems to be so graceful. He seems to be doing a lot more than you're used to seeing him do. Now, what do I mean by that? Now, you're talking about a guy that shoots threes. You're talking about a guy that can he's got a good handle on the basketball, can drive the lane, Euro step, all that stuff. Like everything should be graceful. It should be obvious. And he does so much on the court. But watching him last night, it seems to me that he is being much more of he's not a 90s center. I'm not making that comparison. But he seems to be incorporating that brand of basketball in his game more. And it's not necessarily just bully ball, but it's him getting to the blocks, getting a post move, and making a good play to the rim. Not everything from him is a fadeaway. Sure, it's still part of his game. But when I'm watching him this year, it just seems like to me, when I'm watching him play this year, he is much more of a center than he is that small forward. It's much more of a center than he is that point guard that we have seen. Much more of a center than we've seen even Dirk Nowitzki, and the guy he loves basing his game off of. And who he wants to be tonight. Does he want to be Shaq tonight? Does he want to be Dirk tonight? Who does he want to be? I am seeing more of Shaq, maybe not as much bully ball. I'm seeing more Olajuwon probably than I've ever seen Joel Embiid display in his career. I am seeing him play more of that, but not nearly the majority of it, the prototypical center that you know he can be. The athletic, graceful center that you have seen him be. And I got to look at shots in the paint that he has taken this year to see if they're higher than normal. But it seems like threes are definitely down. Post moves are definitely up. And him playing that role, I don't know if it helps with the spacing on the court with James Harden or when Tyrese Maxey was running things. I don't know what's been helping, but it seems like he is making much more of an effort to be that guy that's closer to the basket. And I don't mind him shooting three. I'm not somebody that when he shoots a three, I go, no, damn it, he hits it. Okay, good. Like, I'm not that. That's part of his game. That's who he is. But it seems like there's more of an effort to play down low for him this year than I have seen probably since his first 2 years in the league. And where he's playing. But last night I thought was a good example of that. One thing I meant to do was just take a look at real quick at his shot chart from last night's game. Because definitely last night was another example of what I thought. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 made buckets. Majority of his shots, yeah, all coming within the paint. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah. So there you go. Sixers will be back on the hardwood. Actually coming up tomorrow night when they host the Pacers. They'll go for their third win in a row. They'll try to be as good as the Flyers, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, Doc Rivers did say before the game last night that the Eagles are guaranteed to go to the Super Bowl. Doc Rivers says the Eagles are going to the Super Bowl. He guarantees it. So let that stew around in your brain today. Let me tell you about my man Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. I was just at Steven Singer over the holiday. The wife, man. The wife. She needs that ice, man. She needs that ice. Steven Singer Jewelers. One place, one price. The perfect price each and every day. Online at IHateStevenSinger.com. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. When it comes to all your big jewelry purchases, trust one man, the man with the perfect price. Now, what's the perfect price? Well, you know what? You see the billboards all over the place. I hate Steven Singer. And you go, well, why do people hate Steven Singer? I'll tell you who hates Steven Singer. More than anyone, jewelers. Other jewelers hate Steven Singer. Because while they're playing the pricing game, while they're trying to gouge you, while they're trying to get the most from you, Steven Singer sets everything at the perfect price each and every day. So when you walk in there, you don't have to worry about negotiating or haggling or how far you can get this price down. No. You know, that pressure is gone. That pressure is off your shoulders. All you got to do is walk in there and concentrate on the beautiful diamond that you want to buy, whether it's a diamond tennis bracelet, a diamond earring, whatever it may be. Steven Singer Jewelers has got you covered. A real jewelry expert will walk you through everything, make you feel comfortable, make you feel like a real family member at the other corner of 8th and Walnut. So do what I do. Trust Steven Singer, the man with the perfect price. Online at IHateStevenSinger.com. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. Always fast and free shipping at IHateStevenSinger.com. Let me tell you about the people at Manscaped. 20% off and free shipping at Manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping. Manscaped.com. When you use promo code Farzy at Manscaped.com. The leader in below-the-waist grooming. You'll enjoy their Platinum Package 4.0. That includes the lawnmower trimmer. It also includes the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer. And they come with skin-safe technology that helps reduce the risk of nicks so you can manscape with confidence and comfort. Go to manscaped.com for more information and use promo code Farzy for 20% off and free shipping. How about Freestone Farm CBD? FreestoneFarmCBD.com. You like a CBD? You enjoy a CBD? You want to try a different CBD? You want to try CBD? Try Freestone Farm CBD at FreestoneFarmCBD.com. They grow all their premium hemp flower in the Garden State with all organic inputs and IPM, so there's nothing synthetic from farm to jar. And after harvest, they carefully preserve all their plant compounds with a perfect 3-month cure. Oh, like a nice soprasata. Just one look or smell will let you know it's CBD done right. You'll enjoy their tropical tasting Bayox that clocks in at a chart-topping 24.1%, and Super CBD, which is half Hindu.
Said he took all of them last week.
Yeah, I guess we played that pretty right then for Gardner to.
We're talking about Gardner Minshew. Well, CBD? What? No way. That was me hitting spacebar, which triggered a cut. Miss Scusi. I was pushing buttons. But yeah, Freestone Farm CBD, FreestoneFarmCBD.com. How about PHL Sports Station, Philadelphia Sports Station, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's PHLSportsStation.com. Let's get to the chat check, ladies and gentlemen. Kevin is checking in. What's up, Kevin? Praying for the Buffalo Bills. Absolutely. Man, Mihai Sanchez, Happy New Year, Mark. Oh, thank you, Mihai. Everyone, Happy New Year. At least the Sixers and Flyers are off to a great start in 2023. Most importantly, now I'm praying for tomorrow and his close people and his close people today. I could barely sleep. Just telling you, it was the scariest moment I ever had watching sports. Sean Gillespie, good morning. Everyone's giving good vibes to Damar Hamlin. Clay, what's up, Clay? He said his sister brought up an interesting point. CNN was saying it was a concussion. You don't do CPR for... I didn't see that. I didn't see what CNN said. Clay says, I'm certified first aid CPR and know what happened wasn't a concussion. Yeah. Everyone's saying good morning. Fuji, what's up, Fuji? Good morning. Yeah, Clay, I've never given anyone CPR. I was a lifeguard briefly in my youth. I pulled kids out. They didn't need CPR though. On a lighter note, this one kid that I pulled out of the pool, he was a 5-year-old kid, jumped off the diving board, and I was looking at him because I was assigned to the diving board. And I was looking at him, and I just there was a sense that went off. There was like an alarm that went off in my head. And I'm looking at this kid, and I'm like, you shouldn't be doing this. He just had this look on his face that he was completely lost. Anyway, jumps in the water, goes down, comes up briefly, and that look of panic is, if you ever pulled a kid out of the water or anything like that, you know it. It's different than a kid playing or anything. That kid needed to be pulled out of the water. So I jump in, grab him, put him on the side, and to this day, it's the funniest thing I ever heard in my life. The kid looks at me, and I go, are you okay? You all right? And he's just like, I'm like, okay. And he's like nodding his head. And I go, I'm going to get you out of the water. And he looks at me and he goes, that's right. I don't know how to swim. I swear to God, this 5-year-old kid looked at me and I go, you okay? And he goes, that's right. I don't know how to swim. It's like he got to the end of the diving board. He's all right. Swimsuit. Check. Goggles. Got them. Floaties. Who needs them? Am I missing anything else? No, I think I got it. Jump in. No. Anyway, kid's fine. But yeah. Didn't have to give CPR. John Cheeseborough, what's up, buddy? Prayers for Hamlin. That's nice of you, John. John goes on to say, here's why I can't rip the NFL. It was really an unprecedented situation. So my feeling was leave it to the players to decide what they want to do based on how they feel. The coaches did a great job of talking with each other to take the teams into the locker room and get themselves together. John, I agree to an extent, but here's why I can rip the NFL. The NFL had an opportunity here to say what was happening. Even if it was something as simple as we're going to let the players decide, which is ultimately what I think happened. But to go radio silent for an hour? To go radio silent, what do we have here? Let's go back to the timeline in my horrible photo. They announced the game is temporarily suspended at 9:18. And then about 45 minutes later, they officially canceled the game. I think they knew before then that the game was going to be suspended indefinitely, which is eventually what happened. If they would have said, we're gathering information from the players and the coaches, I think that would have alleviated a lot of people's angst surrounding the situation. It is unprecedented. They've had unprecedented situations, not like this, but they've had to improvise on the fly before. And I thought this was an instance where they could have kept fans a little bit more abreast of the situation. And their broadcast partner. Because the whole time you're just sitting there thinking, they just want to get ads in? They're worried about the logistics of the schedule? John Cheesebro, love him or hate him, Joe Buck was a true pro last night. I totally agree. Mally, first time I've ever heard someone say Joe Buck and a pro using the same sentence. You guys, I think you guys know, you guys bark up the wrong tree when it comes to Joe Buck and me. I love Joe Buck. And last night I thought he was great. April, good morning, April. April, you're one of the first people, by the way, that I saw tweeting about what happened. And I was like, if April's talking about it, what's going on? And I flip over. Marquise Graham, I got Hurts playing. Clearly, Sirianni is not trying to give away the plan like he tried against the Saints last week. He's playing. Marquise. Marquise Graham, with Jordan's family members being at the game, I'm not shocked how pissed he was. Yeah, I would be pissed too. Where was the tight end help? Not a lot. They did not rely on Dallas Goedert even a little bit. Blue City Empire Sports praying for Damar Hamlin. Excuse me, Damar Hamlin. April. Don't want any Duck River stink on the Eagles. April, I'm with you there. Sean, that's great. Forgot he didn't know how to swim. He definitely failed kindergarten. Sean, I believe that's a reference to me failing kindergarten. At least that's how I'm going to take it, because I did fail kindergarten, but I went back, baby, and I rocked the place. Anyway, thanks, everybody. You guys are great in the chat, as per usual. Morning Rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. Look, I told you about the Sixers. I told you about the Flyers. Eagles are playing Sunday at 4:25. Just, again, send your prayers, send your good vibes to none other than Damar Hamlin today, and hope he comes out of this on the other side A-okay. Thanks to everybody. It's presented by Steven Singer. Jim Hyde produced the program, did a wonderful job. This is a Buzz Sports Entertainment production. I'm Mark Barzetta. Talk to you guys tomorrow.